Hello, welcome back. It's Rapid Regeneration with me, David Escamilla. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a medical professional. I'm not making medical claims or claims about diseases. I'm a detoxification specialist, and I'm committed to helping you to solve your health problems naturally and to achieve your goals naturally. Now, if you're going to do that, you're probably going to need to go through detox. I certainly did when I was in the depths of my health crises and feeling terrible. What I realized is that in order to fix the problem, I had to go through detox. And I did. And detox is simple and straightforward enough. So that's not really the challenge in itself, is the actual detox. What's challenging is detoxing here on this planet, on planet Earth, where there's constant pressure, there's constant duality, there's constant tension, there's constant stress, economic pressure for you to participate in this game here on planet Earth. And what's challenging is to go through detox while you're also putting up with that. So I just want to answer the question for you, which is, can you go through detox while holding down a regular job? And if so, how do you do that? Because this is a big question. This is really where the rubber meets the road. I mean, anybody can go to some retreat in Costa Rica and just lie on a beach and detox and drink coconut water and have a great time. But how do you detox if you gotta go punch a clock and go into some office cubicle, or you gotta go drive a truck, or you gotta go lay some brick, or you gotta go serve customers, or all these things that are stressful? Or let's say you're a high level person, you got to do some math, you got to crunch numbers, you got to negotiate with clients, you got to use your mind. So these things are difficult without going through detox. So how can you go through detox and still hold down a job? Now, this is an area which holds some people back. And I hope that it's not going to hold you back. This is the challenge, but the challenge is the opportunity. And that's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. We have to make a living here on this planet. Now, there is a deeper question, which is, how do you create a life where you can make a comfortable living, doing something you enjoy, and having a lot of bandwidth and freedom and creativity? So, because if you had that, then it would be a lot easier to detox, wouldn't it? Because you're already in your element. So, I don't really know the answer to that question. I'm not really qualified to answer that question. So, I'm still working on, for me personally, creating a life that's more ideal, of an ideal scene. With more of that balance. So I don't have the answer to that question for you. You're gonna have to seek that out elsewhere, at least at this time. But what I have figured out is how to earn a good living, and still have balance in the sense that I'm still able to achieve results, solve my health problems, detox out, achieve my wellness goals, and still have time for other areas of life and things like this program, Rapid Regeneration. And so basically in those early years when I was detoxing, I figured out how to do that. So I can share that with you. And that's just been my approach, because I'm like you. I didn't have the dream job, or I wanted to, and I think had I not gotten sick, I would have been at a better place career-wise, but I did get really sick, and so when I started going through detox, I was in a rough place. I was in a transition, and it was tough. It was really tough. And so basically, just to summarize this experience, when I was first going through detox and regeneration and sort of rebuilding myself, while holding down a job, it made things more challenging at work initially. Ultimately, once I really started getting detoxed out and regenerated, once I really started feeling great and feeling extraordinary levels of energy, work became far easier than it ever had been. And I started running circles around my peers. And then if I look at the trajectory after that, it just takes off. If you look at it on a graph. And my work performance, my level of getting better jobs that were better, less, just better and better paying and earning more, and everything just continued to take off after that point when I was detoxed out and feeling good and energetic. It just keeps growing more and more after that. So just like anything in life, if you do it, if you do the hard thing and you take that hard road, it's going to be tougher at first, but then it levels out, and then it starts paying you back, and then it pays you back 1,000-fold because of how much more energy that I've had. And energy is very motivating. There's nothing more motivating than just feeling very energetic, very confident, and feeling good. So my message to you is that this can be accomplished. Okay, you can hold down that job or do whatever you need to do to make a living and still go through detox. Okay, do not let this hold you back. Don't let your vocation or your business or your job hold you back from your number one job, which is to get yourself healthy and well and enjoy a long, healthy lifespan free of health problems. So, as you know, though, I don't sugarcoat these things. And ultimately, if solving a health problem was easy, everybody would do it. And so, now there are some nuances to this. There are some parts of detox that are handled better at home. If you follow the tenets of this program and you do the full body cleansing first, you're going to basically do colon cleansing and then liver cleansing and then parasite cleansing. The parasite cleansing is no big deal. You can do that. Nothing's going to change, really. It's very gentle. But the 5-day colon cleanse and the 5-day liver cleanse, which is really more like 6 days for the liver cleanse, it is something that you may want to consider being at home part of the time. So regarding the colon cleanse, now you may think if I'm doing this colon cleanse, then stuff's just going to be shooting everywhere all the time. Well, it depends. I mean, for me, it really wasn't that case. That really wasn't the case. It was the same number of trips to the bathroom as normal. It was just that when I did go, more stuff was coming out. It was like unloading more than normal. And so, in that sense, if that's the case for you, then, maybe you could still just do the colon cleanse while you're still reporting to work. You're still going to the facilities the same number of times. I would recommend before you do the colon cleanse, the 5-day cleanse, try it out on a weekend for 1 or 2 days and see what the results are like for you. So that would be the approach to that. In terms of the liver cleanse, the first oh man, I mean, keep in mind when you're doing the liver cleanse, you're also taking the colon cleansing product, so you're having also the bowel movements. But the 5th day and the 6th day are both very intense, the liver cleanse. And so those are very intense, and you would definitely want to be home, I think, on day 5 and 6. So plan that on a weekend. And then the other thing is that, on the beginning on day 2 or day 3, I can't remember, I think it was day 2, I did feel, with the liver cleanse, I did feel quite ragged, drained. I felt kind of yucky. And basically the proprietor of this cleanse explains that, it's normal to experience this because a small part of these toxins are getting reabsorbed, even though most are getting eliminated through the colon. But a lot of them get reabsorbed in the intestines and then back into the bloodstream. So then you can feel achy and tired when you're going through it. So if you're feeling achy and tired and drained and kind of emotionally ratted out, can you still go through a liver cleanse while you're at work doing your job? So, I mean, not everybody has the luxury to take a week-long vacation just to do this cleanse. And I think the answer to that question really depends on your job, how stressful it is. Personally, I did the cleanse while I was off work. But then again, my work was very stressful. So if you had a job that's not as stressful, then I feel like you could pull it off. It's really a personal choice. Now, it is worth it if you can figure out how to do it. Again, I will reiterate, after doing the cleanse, immediately after the liver cleanse, my first one, I felt incredible, so energetic, and felt amazing. So that would then have a good effect at work. So yes, regarding time and balance and work and everything, that's also a good point, because when I was going through my heaviest detox back in 2015, mid-2015 to mid-2016, there were many times when all I wanted to do was just literally sit in a chair or lie on a couch or something and just literally let my mind go and just sit there. And it felt like my body was just purging and healing itself, and I was just letting myself go into nothingness. And that sounds strange, because before that I was always a really busy beaver, and I was just always reading something or watching something or listening to something or running from one activity to the next. And so it was very unusual that I would have this sensation. But literally, that's just what I wanted to do. I would literally just be like, I just want to relax, and I would just sit in a recliner, and literally for an hour, it was like I went into this deep meditation. And I think that was a way for the body to really heal and take over. But the reason I bring that up is, can you say, hey, excuse me, boss, I'm gonna go over to the break room. I'm just gonna lay in a recliner for 90 minutes really quick. I mean, you can't really do that. Now, this is one of my big regrets, is that I focused too much on detox and maybe not enough on my job and my work. And it really created some problems for me financially and economically. And it ended up being like a big problem. And so if I could go back and do it again, I would probably do it more balanced. So it's tough to say, right? Because, like I was so desperate to heal myself. So I was really aggressively pursuing that healing. And I was kind of putting this other stuff off to the side, figuring out my job, figuring out my career, figuring out how to make money. And, and quite frankly, I had left a job, that company had closed. The long story short is that I was working for this company, this investigation company, and they got sued out of existence. It was this crazy trial and a court, and the whole thing was insane. And basically they went out of business. I was in California at the time. I had moved out there, and basically the money ran out, and I moved back in with my parents for a brief period of time in Austin, Texas. And basically at this time I was starting to go through all this detox and everything, and I was working like these menial jobs like delivery and stuff like that, and basically they gave me a deadline and were like, listen, you need to move out by this time. They basically kicked me out. And basically I kind of should have been better prepared and should have spent more time figuring out my job setup, because then I was kicked out. I was living in this terrible house with these other guys. I got this horrible job that was just the worst job ever. My car died. Anyway, so this is a long story, but suffice it to say, I spent a lot of time in that recliner chair just letting myself heal and meditate and not figuring out what I was going to do to earn a living. And so looking back, I should have balanced it more practically, I think. But then again, I wouldn't have healed as fast. But then again, I healed fast, but then I was in a big problem, because then I had to ride my bike to this job that I absolutely hated. My living situation was terrible. I was so stressed out. And so then that, I'm sure, created a block to my healing. So, you have to balance all of this, and, since then, I will say this idea of resting and, that extra rest I feel like I needed, it's, I haven't really needed, that was true in those early days. But since then, in the first year really, since then, I haven't needed that much. And in fact, there's been times when I was working so hard to get myself out of that financial hole, I would work 80-hour weeks and with just no slowdown of energy. There was a time from for pretty much all of 2018, I think it was, when I was working like 70 plus hour weeks. I was working 2 jobs straight every week. Every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, I would work a second job. And so I would work 40 hours at my regular job, and then I would put in another 20 hours. I guess it's only 60 hours a week. But then I would do all this driving. I would do all this other stuff. And so I've been surprised at how much energy and stamina that I have. And I attribute this to being cleaned out, being detoxed, healed, energetic. All the stuff, if you follow from Rapid Regeneration, that's what I credit to having amazing energy. And since then, I've been able to go at an incredible pace. So, if you're worried about not being able to work, getting yourself healthy and well is the ultimate key to being able to produce at high levels, if that's what you're interested in. But in the beginning, it could be tough, and your work might suffer a little bit in the beginning. So yeah, and again, my struggle may have been harder than yours, because if you're already established in a career and a job, this may be easier. During this time, I was switching jobs. I was getting different jobs. The jobs I was getting were horrible and super challenging and stressful. And I was also I was in debt. I was in a hole financially. I was trying to work my way out of it. And so Also, my personal situation was very rough. I mean, like I said, my parents kicked me out of the house. They thought I was going crazy. They thought I was, they were worried about me. Everything was up in the air. So this was like a very tumultuous time. So maybe if you have a little more steadiness in where you're at, this could be easier for you to detox while you're holding down your main thing. So, I was aggressive. I was doing total body cleansing. I did multiple rounds of colon cleansing, liver cleansing, parasite cleansing. I passed out gallstones, liver stones, a lot of junk from my colon, numerous parasites. All this got out of my body. I detoxed my nervous system, a lot of mucus, congestion in the brain and head area. I went through ups and downs. I mean, it was like a roller coaster. But you know what? I pulled it off. And so can you. So can you. You can do it. So that's my message. Now, lastly, I know that some people kind of go the other route. And when they get really into detoxification and self-healing, they kind of break off from the prospects of earning a living in conventional ways. Somebody might live in their van or their car, or they might just live at their parents' house, or they might literally panhandle the streets, for money, or just do odd jobs or kind of freelance work. Now, I understand the kind of thought process behind that. It's almost kind of like the 1960s in San Francisco and the hippies and creating kind of these communes to drop out of society was the mantra at the time. Now, to me, this always has seemed more stressful to do that than to go punch a clock somewhere. Even though jobs are stressful, this even seemed more stressful to me to do that. So, for me, that's my thought about that. But if that's what works for you, go for it. I can only share with you what works for me and what I know. So if you can get through the first 6 to 12 months, man, you're going to be golden. You're going to be golden. So, and just imagine if you do, what if you had twice the energy you had now? What if your aches, your pains, your discomforts were gone? What if you had a new exciting sensation of where you're going and the motivation of, achieving optimum health? And what impact would that have on your work performance? So ultimately, it's worth it. It is so, so worth it. And work becomes so much easier. And you can start to self-actualize your work, other parts of your life, whether it's a different job, getting a better job, or a business, starting a business, or your relationships, or a creative pursuit, like a passion project, like this project that I'm doing to help you. I attribute the ability to do that to the amazing energy and everything from having gone through detox. So you can absolutely do it. Okay? You can do it. Do it now. Do it now. Don't delay. And don't let the fact that you have to do your job hold you back from doing your number one job, which is to detox yourself out, solve your health problems, get yourself to an optimal state of functioning. So, I know you can do it. I'm here for you, to support you and to help you. So, go ahead and go after it. And that's all for now. This is brought to you by rapidregeneration.com. Thank you, and I'll see you on the next one.
For more information, please follow @Rapid Regeneration or visit rapidregeneration.com.